Hello everyone, Fruit Punch Man 15 here. This is the Q&A video to celebrate 1,000 subscribers. It's going to be a long video, so let's just get started right away and keep the intro short. Tom the YouTubing Tank Engine asks, why is your OC a green James? Well, it was completely unoriginal and I was unsure of what an OC was back in summer of 2020 when the sprite was created. And I was so confused on what it was, and that has been with me ever since that time in summer of 2020. What are you most proud of on your channel? It is completely obvious. Alfred's Revenge has to be the most proudest thing I've ever done on this channel, mainly because of how many fan interaction and how many people enjoy this series. I never would have thought it would have gotten this popular, especially now with over 1,000 subscribers. It helps me keep going, and it shows how everyone loves it, of how everyone is excited for new episodes and what the outcomes of each episode will do. Will you continue to make Take on Soda videos? Yes, I'm actually planning to do so, but I would like to get Alfred's Revenge out of the way before I start on other projects. Besides, I have a few more surprises along the way as well. My buddy Chris asks, top 3 favorite engines of Thomas and Friends. Number 3 has to go to Edward, number 2 has to go to Thomas, number 1 has to go to Percy. Percy has been my all-time favorite character since I was young, and he is still one of my favorite characters to this day. Aside from Thomas, what are your other interests? My interests consist of Mario, Sonic, Looney Tunes, Cyanide and Happiness, Saints Row 2, BeamNG Drive, Team Fortress 2, and many other interests that I can't really think at the top of my head. Favorite food of the entire world? This is so easy. Pizza, all the way, especially meat lovers, which is my all-time favorite kind of pizza. Stickbot Blue asks, do you like Sonic the Hedgehog? As I said previously, yes, I do like Sonic, mainly because of the gameplay and music. Zaku asks, when Alfred's Revenge ends, do you have any plans for any future stuff? I do have a few plans in the works, but I want to surprise you all once Alfred's Revenge is done. I have a lot more surprises along the way. Thoughts on fan interpretations, headcanons, etc. for the series? This is a little bit confusing to me, not gonna lie with you, but I hope I'm saying this the way you want it, but I think it's exciting to see how fans interpret the series and how they have to figure out what is going to happen next. That's what I like, to hold in that suspense to see what the fans would think about the series and what would happen, like a big moment. Like, take for example, I'm gonna reveal some spoilers here, so if you haven't seen it, I suggest going back to watch it. But take Diesel's death for example. Nobody was expecting that, and everybody's like, oh my god, he's dead. That was actually one of my biggest things. I love the suspense in the series and how everybody's completely surprised. That's what makes me happy, because I like how people react to the suspense that I've held in for so long. But it's great, and I love it, and I think fan interpretation is okay and decent, just as long as they don't steal anything. And lastly, who's Joe? Let me take you to a few professionals that do know who Joe is.
Joe Mama?
Berlindo Gaming asks, why do you love TNF? I've been a fan of TNF since I was a little kid, and it's just had a place in my heart, and it's made me become the person that I am today, making content for all of you guys. Do you like Diesel? That got me to chuckle a minute. I think it's probably because I killed Diesel in episode 2. But when I was younger, I did not like Diesel, but now that I'm a little older, I do like Diesel because I like his character and I like how kind of evil, not evil, but like sinister sometimes. I just think it's funny. What is my favorite engine? Percy. All the way Percy. Farquhar Productions asks, what inspired your channel? A lot of things, but my main inspirations have to go to Scarlowy123 and Time Sensity. They are both fantastic filmmakers, and I respect them for their work that they have created for their channels, and I want to do the same thing. I want to be a filmmaker, I want to be an editor, an actor, and all these things that they can do, and I've learned most inspiration from them, and it's a great thing to know, and it's great to know how things will work and how fans will think of it. Why Fruit Punch Man 15? Well, fruit punch is my favorite drink, and 15 is my lucky number. So that's how I came up with the name Fruit Punch Man 15. Edward G. YT 2021 asks, who are your favorite YouTubers? Well, for my Thomas favorite YouTubers, they have to go to James is Here, Jesse Ortiz, Steve the Weave, and many more. Especially Scarlowy123 and Tyne Sensity. But if you're talking about non-Thomas YouTubers, they're mainly Markiplier, on occasion Team Edge, Jacksepticeye, Fusion Z Gamer, and a lot more other gamers, including Corey X Genshin. You mostly play Take on Sodor or CBR3. Well, I only use CBR3 for filming for Alfred's Revenge, but if you're saying like what I play when I'm not filming, it's gotta be Take on Sodor. What's your favorite Thomas merchandise? It's a little bit tricky, but I will say Tomy or Trackmaster, since I had a lot more of those growing up, and I just loved them, and just how they looked pretty similar to the models. Dominic Rossi asks, what is your Discord server? Both servers to my personal server and Alfred's Revenge, I may post in the description below if you guys are interested in joining Alfred's Revenge server or my personal server. What might happen in episode 4? Well, I don't want to spoil it, but me and Vickerstown Productions both wrote a scene, and we think it may surprise everyone. Will there be a StreamYard party about Alfred's Revenge? Probably when it gets to the ending. Probably. But it's not certain or actually going to happen. Bluebell Studios asks, what's your favorite cereal? Well, I'm not a fan of cereal like I am now, but back when I was a little younger, I liked the cereal called Life. It just had a really great taste, and I enjoyed it for like days on end. Jessica the LMS Ginty asks, are you planning to get trains? I do have trains a new era, but as of right now, not really, since I don't know how to work trains, and it is very difficult. What is your OC based on? It wasn't really based on anything. It was just something that came out of my mind, and just how it just looks like James, and people joke around of how my OC is related to James, and that I'm its brother, which that joke's been around for a while, and I think it's still funny. What's your Roblox username? Sadly, I do not like to give my Roblox name out to people who I sadly don't know really well, so sadly I shall not put out my Roblox username at this time. Bowling Ball Gaming asks, do you remember the good old days where you have a small amount of subscribers? I do actually. I do remember those good old days where I was just a small little creator, and just how I was making everyone laugh, and there were not so many people at the time. But now that I'm over 1,000, I don't see myself as a small creator anymore. I'm starting to get a little bigger. I'm just starting to get a little bigger than I used to be, and it is a big change for me. Did you delete your old lines? Yes, I did, mainly because they're old and I don't seem to like it as much. But I think it was best to change it because I don't think it was like a good portfolio, and I didn't have Vegas at the time as well. Did you like remove the lines from the videos that you did back in the day? Some of them were deleted because the users that I did lines for are no longer either on YouTube or I have lost contact with. But some lines are still there, some are not still there, but I don't know, but some are still there, some are not, but it was way before I had Vegas, before I had Vegas, because I didn't get Vegas until June of 2020. Where are your old videos? Some of them are still there, some are not still there. I think some of them are unlisted at the moment, but I may do a little playlist of how my old videos went from old videos to videos I'm currently making now. Icy Boy Productions asks, do you like McDonald's? Yes. Or Burger King or Jack in the Box? I do like Burger King. Sadly, I have not tried Jack in the Box. I think that's a California thing, since I'm more in the Midwest. Mr. Great Western asks, if you could, would you use Train Simulator 19 for Alfred's Revenge? Probably, if someone would be willing to help film it, because I don't think I'd be interested in trains. Congratulations on 1K, man. Thank you so much for that little thing. Inspirations behind Alfred's Revenge? Well, like I said, Scarlowy123 and Tyne Sensity have been my biggest inspirations creating Alfred's Revenge. How is a fruit punch sentient and making videos? I honestly don't know. It just came up a funny name and I just thought it works. Roblox David Pro says, wow, finally 1K, good job. Thank you so much. He also asks, Are you going to make a new OC? Most likely, since this OC of mine, this Green James, is very outdated. So it may happen. Are you going to use other games to make videos? Most likely, since I have done that in the past recently with shenanigan videos that I used to do back in August. Do you think you will reach 2K or maybe 4K? Probably, but again, I'm not so sure. Also, I love your stories and continue making videos like that. Why, thank you for your kind words. Arthur and Edward Fan 1999 ask, what is your favorite episode or season? Season 2 is my favorite, and episode, I really don't have a favorite episode, but usually all episodes are pretty good, except anything from Mattel, really, since I never really watched the Mattel era. What is your most favorite of your videos? Well, I would have to say Alfred's Revenge episode 3, mainly because it had a lot more better editing than episode 1, and I'm still confused why episode 1 has the most views still, and it has bad editing. That doesn't make any sense. Ready to Productions, aka TJ asks, are you excited for the new movie called The Stories of Thomas and His Friends, the movie part 2? It's funny you may ask. I'm in it. This looks like a hard name, but I hope I say it right. Gilanio asks, top 10 seasons of Thomas and Friends. That will be a little tricky, but I will do it, but just without recording. What's your favorite Thomas movie of Thomas and Friends? Tail the Brave. The Bandit asks, can you do other accents other than Alfred for other characters? Well, I could do a slight British accent a little bit. I could sound a bit British like this, but I'm not the best British accent for stuff like that. But I can do some accents from time to time. Who would you thank for helping you through Alfred's Revenge so far? Well, you guys, because you guys were so interested in this that made me feel happy about it, and I really want to thank you for helping me get this to where it is now, especially Scarlowy123 and Time Sensity, mainly because they've been my biggest inspirations, like I've said before. Do you eat pie? Sadly, I do not eat pie. I wish I did, but I'm not really a big fan of sweets. I'm more of a entree guy more than a sweet, because I don't eat sweets quite a lot. I just eat sweets on occasion, so it's kind of rare if you see me eating sweets. Duckboy K asks, may I get a shout out? Sure. Yeah, shout out to Duckboy K. Epic asks, did you get anything from 1,000 subscribers from friends or fans or family members? Well, I did get a lot of Discord DMs from all my friends saying congrats on 1K. For fans, I actually ran across one video of him saying, actually 2 people, for saying congrats on 1,000 followers, and one fan created my OC, and I felt very happy about it. I'm like, oh, this is fantastic, I love it. How did you get the idea for Alfred's Revenge? Well, it's kind of the same question, but basically it's just the same thing, inspiration from my biggest inspiration, Scarlowy123 and Time Sensity. I also wanted to test my ability on voicing Alfred, because I have to get at a certain pitch to get to Alfred's voice, and I have to sound like really, really deep and very evil, and I'm a nice guy, so I have to see what it's like to be on the bad side, just to kind of get a feel for it. Have you ever been rickrolled? Yes, I have. Many times, but just not this moment. Just a Normal Pumpkin asked, why did you start making YouTube? Well, I didn't start making YouTube until I got Vegas, because I just thought, if my friends can do it, so can I. And that's exactly how I started YouTube, because my friends were doing it as well, and I started to learn the basics of YouTube and the basics of video editing, and just that's how I got into YouTube, and that's where I am now. Weasel19 asks, least favorite model from CBR3 or take on Sodor? Well, I will say for CBR3, sadly it has to be Edward. I mean, he looks very similar, but the only thing I hate about it is how, like, when he moves, he just kind of shakes in the front and it's not very stable. You can actually kind of see how he's not so stable in one scene in episode 3, and he's just kind of shaking a little bit. But, I mean, the new Edward in Take on Sodor actually looks a lot better and a lot more realistic. Will 87546 be introduced in Alfred's Revenge? Probably not, but I don't think I will. Maybe he'll be mentioned, but I don't think he'll be introduced. Thomas the Tank Man asks, What is your favorite Thomas song? Well, if you're talking the Britt Allcroft era, it's gotta go to either Accidents Will Happen or Never 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 Give Up. But if you're talking about like the hit era, before CGI, it's probably Patience is a Virtue. Rustycraft asks, what's your favorite food and drink? My favorite food is pizza, and my favorite drink is actually fruit punch. Did you steal my pizza? Probably. Train fan JT asks, did you enjoy other Thomas stories that were made by Narrow Gauge, 84F Stories, or other users? Sadly, I've not heard of either the ones that you mentioned, but other users I probably have heard of. But yeah, I like some of those stories, and I think I should check out Narrow Gauge or 84F Studios. Was your series of Alfred's Revenge as a reference to Sodor Dark Times, A Frenzy Payback, or any other fandom series? Well, like I said, it's referencing Scarlowy 123 mostly, but one scene was related to a Tide Sensity. And for Sodor Dark Times, A Frenzy Payback, when I first started making it, I actually didn't know it was a thing until someone told me to watch it, and I'm like, this is great. But the creator of Sodor Dark Times, A Frenzy Payback actually commented on episode 2, and I pinned that. But mostly it's a reference to Scarlowy 123, but we might do a reference to Dark Times, A Frenzy Payback. And 3, do you have trains before you decided to use Roblox for your films? Well, like I said, I do have trains, but I don't know how to work it, but I'll go into more detail. I used Roblox mainly because of how I can have many people film, because I think I would need help, and I can have more people help me film instead of me just filming for trains, because it'd be a little difficult for me to understand. Andrew Rubio asks, are you going to include Diesel 10 in Alfred's Revenge, or in a different project? That is likely, but it is not completely true or uncertain. But if it does happen, I'll tell you, but I want to surprise you, but maybe that'll happen, but who knows? Sadly, your question has been answered, JTWC 10 Studios, but I will say it again, it is Percy. Nathaniel's Adventures and More asks, why did you make your Alfred series? Mainly because it was to test my ability to voice Alfred, and just to make a little story out of my own head along with a few other people that I'm teaming up with. How is life? Pretty good. I'm just happy I reached 1,000. Pizza or pasta? Oh, come on. I'm an Italian man, for God's sake. Pizza. It's really good. I like pasta as well, so why not both? Both is good.
Both is good.
This isn't a question, but I love this. You deserve all the subscribers for making fantastic content, says Tommy the Tank Engine. I really like those kind words. Thank you very much. Nia or Rebecca, Mr. Stepney asked. Neither. I don't know really the characters behind them, and I don't know what it is, but I've heard they're not really good additions since they replaced Edward and Henry. So, neither. Wrestling and Railway Productions asks, any favorite classes of American Steam and Diesel Power? Well, sadly I don't know any classes at the top of my head at the moment, but I may do some research after this, so here they are. Thoughts on Mattel's treatment of Thomas the Tank Engine? It doesn't look so good. I think when I first saw the engines were starting to bounce, the only thing I can think of was Chuggington. That's what I thought in my head. I was just like, this looks like Chuggington. What the hell? But I kind of wish we could go back to the Britt Allcroft era and the beginning stages of the hit era, because those are the ones I grew up on the most, and that's what I started to know about Thomas, and that's what I loved about it. Worst Thomas OC you've seen? This is a little bit of a trick question, so I'm just going to show it to you, so here it is. Brent Gibson asks, if you could guess, when do you think you'll get 2K? Oh, it's going to be a long time until I get 2K, probably. But who knows? It may happen sooner than expected. But as of right now, I think it's best to just celebrate that we have over 1,000, which is a big milestone for me. Why did you choose Alfred as the villain? Well, I've seen Alfred as a villain, and I've watched a lot of videos of showing Alfred as a villain, and I just kind of like that feel of it. But I also like the idea of how some creators think of Alfred as a good guy. I also like that as well. But I like it how he's a villain, and I like to do his voice and just the way he is being a villain. I just think it's funny, and I like the way how he's a villain, and I just love it. I just love it. Are you gonna post any other series in the future? Most likely, actually. I actually have a few ideas coming to mind that I may surprise you all with. Skylar Knotts asked, what were your first impressions on me back when we first met? You were a great guy, and I thought you were a little older at first. But when I first met you, you were a very nice guy, and you are one of my best friends because I met a lot of good people on Discord when I first joined back in like March of 2020. That's when I started to meet almost all my friends. So it's been an entire year since we've all known each other. And it has been a great relationship, and I'm glad to be friends with you, Skylar. What gave you the idea to do voice acting? Well, I've watched a lot of cartoons, and I know how actors are just working on voices, and what's funny is one of my voice acting inspirations has to probably go to Rob Paulson, because he's done a lot of cartoons like Animaniacs, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and many other things that I cannot think at the top of my head. But I've wanted to do voice acting because I want to be like Rob Paulson. I want to be an actor. I want to be a voice actor. I think I would be doing really good at it. So that's what I've thought about it. Thomas FNAF Fan 126 says, how do you feel working on a popular series? It is very crazy, and I never would have thought this series would go up and beyond this far. The first spark when episode 1 came out was on December 2nd, and we were getting views by like 500 a day through the month of December. But now it's getting more popular than ever. I am so surprised of how people are enjoying it, and I would have never thought that I would get this far. Will you be doing other content instead of Thomas in the future? Maybe. Because what I was actually planning to do one day, I could probably make like little game videos since I have Steam. I play a lot of Steam games, and I have a few gaming consoles with me right now. I have a Nintendo Switch and a few other things. Name your favorite childhood TV show instead of Thomas. Oh, good lord. Well, I used to love Phineas and Ferb. Obviously I grew up on SpongeBob, The Fairly Odd Parents. I watched a bit of Danny Phantom, Dexter's Laboratory, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and a lot of other cartoons that I really enjoyed. And those are a little bit of my childhood shows as a kid. Hayden the Red Engine Productions asks, first ever Thomas toy? This is a little bit hard since it's been a long time ever since I got my first Thomas toy, but I'm pretty sure this is right. My first ever Thomas toy was like a little circle layout and a Tommy Thomas with Annie and Clarabelle. I think that is my first Thomas toy that I ever got as a kid. Caleb the Tank Engine 06 asks, Roblox or trains? Well, if I learned how to use trains, I would say trains, but at this moment, Roblox. But until I learn how to use trains, then it would most likely be trains. How old are you? I'd rather keep it personal. What would happen if you were any color than green? Well, originally when making the OC, I originally wanted it red. But then I realized I'd be just copying James, so then I just went with green since green's a good color. But if I were a different color than green, I would have to say maybe either blue or orange, because I like the color blue more. Alex the Red Engine Productions 2021 asks, when did I join YouTube? Actually, I just posted a video a year then this channel was made. This channel was created back in March. It was March 27th of 2020. That's when I first joined YouTube. What is your OC's number, or does he not have one? Fun fact, he actually has the number 15. I'll post a picture here for the recent number that he has. LMS Arthur 7 Productions asks, what introduced you to Thomas? Well, I got into it as a kid, and it just had a place in my heart. And now that I'm a little older, I realize that a lot of people have the same interest of Thomas as I do. So that's kind of what made me make a lot of friends and make me a lot more noticeable and how everyone has the same interests. That's how I made all these friends. What is your favorite Thomas episode? There are a couple, actually. One of my favorites probably has to go to Percy's ghostly trick, mainly because of the storyline. I thought it was pretty funny, and how Percy scares Thomas to death. I just liked the concept of that idea. I just loved it. What the favorite episode mentioned in Tude? What makes said episode special to you? Fun fact: I actually have a DVD of Percy's ghostly trick and other Thomas stories. I actually have that DVD. I recently just pulled it out, and I'm like, oh my god, I totally remember this and how much I love the story. This will be the last question, so if I missed your question, I do apologize. But I had so many questions, and this video is getting long anyway. But here is the last question. Emmanuel A asks, what is your least favorite character? Well, as a kid, I didn't like Diesel, mainly because he was kind of mean to the other engines, and that made me feel bad for the other engines, so that's why I thought Diesel was a bully. But now, getting a little older, it probably has to go... I heard a lot of people don't like Charlie, so I'm not a fan of Charlie either, because his voice is kind of silly. Final question. What episode of Alfred's Revenge do you think is the best? Well, I have to say episode 3 because it was edited well, and it had a lot more of a editing part of it, because it looks well edited, better than episode 1. But it turned out to be a really good project for me. And also of how the popularity is coming up, and it's more popular than the past 2 episodes, and that's why I think it's the best, because that's the one that got the most attention, and that is also the episode that got me to 1,000 subscribers. Well, this is the end of the Q&A video. Those are all the questions. If I did miss your question, I do apologize. Either I was too tired to get to your question, or this is the main problem. Most of the questions were already answered, but those are all the questions, and thank you so much for watching this long Q&A video. I hope you guys have a great day, and thank you guys so much for over 1,000 subscribers. And as I am saying this recording right now, because I did 3 different recordings, we have hit 1.1 subscribers. Thanks again so much, and everyone, you have a great day. Bye-bye.